And welcome back to TalkingSports.tv. We're assuming that Mike Ditka will join us shortly. Mark Messier coming up for certain a little later on in the program. In the meantime, this is our second program here at Charlie Fitz Whiskies. For those of you who missed the first one, have a look at this.
Bonifacio and J.P.R. Ncibia, who I think has the biggest mouth for the smallest balls in the entire Major League Baseball.
And as we were walking out for the start of the second period, Robbie Fatorik, the coach of the Kings, tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "You're going to play with Gretzky on his line for the rest of the game." So I said, "Okay," and I'm skating around, getting ready for the rest of the game, and one of the other minor league guys said to me, "You can retire now, we'll see, it's all done." So that was, I ended up playing on his line the rest of that game and got 3 goals with him. And I mean, if you're a monkey, anyone can score 3 goals. So it was pretty special, and he came up and tapped me on the pad and said, "Way to go, Wilksy, great job." So that's just something that I was pretty proud about.
Hey guys, first of all, this is really cool. Thanks for allowing McCain Foods Canada to hang out with you guys tonight.
Thanks for joining us.
I just want to throw it back. I like the Kadri story that's going on right now, kind of the lines going around there. So having the experts in the room that we do, and I guess those online that are looking on. One thing that's interesting to me is, so you guys are Kadri's agent. Are you telling them that, you know what, look at Subban last year, dude, prove it to us, take a 1-year deal, sign for 2.5, 2.7, the big money's yet to come? Or are you saying, you know what, hey, I'm going to prove to you I'm the best agent in the world, I'm going for the big ticket right off the bat?
Josh? Joining us on the line right now, broadcasting legend, also host of Larry King Now on Aura TV, Larry King. Larry, thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Good to be with you, Josh.
Larry, first of all, I want to get your thoughts on what's been going on with Alex Rodriguez here over the last couple weeks. Wanted to get your thoughts on what he's been going through.
Well, the whole thing is a sad mess. Baseball's investigating this for such a long time, and baseball wants him out. The Yankees don't want to pay that contract. They suspend him for all this time, and he's entitled to appeal, and he's appealed. The whole thing is weird. He's bringing charges against the team. The team is threatening his lawyers. The whole thing is bizarre. If the Yankees wanted to just eat the whole thing, what they could do is just release him and pay the rest of his contract. If he's suspended next year, they won't have to pay that. So it'll cost them 2 years pay. That would be my recommendation. You want this story to go away, can go away tomorrow. You end all lawsuits. Everything stops. You release him. So you eat the money after a year. Say he's suspended for a year. This way the story will go on and on. It's become a saga. It's sad for the game. The whole thing is just a mess.
Larry, the last time we spoke at the beginning of the baseball season when the Dodgers were having some trouble and Dodgers manager Don Mattingly was on the hot seat. How impressive have you been with this Dodgers turnaround?
Well, I always loved Mattingly. I think he's going to be a terrific manager. He's learning a lot, but he's getting better and better. I think it's a very good team. We're not hitting now at all. Even though we had this run, we're really not hitting. We're losing today. This will be, if we lose today, the first time we lost 3 in a row in 3 months. But it's a solid team, and as long as you got like Ryu, Greinke, and Kershaw, you're not going to lose too many in a row, and you're going to be awful tough in the playoffs when you have 3 top starters that can give you 9 innings. You got a strong bullpen, and I'm sure that the Ramirez's and the Gonzalez's and the Puigs, and Puig changed the team a lot. He's benched today. They're going to be a solid team. I would favor them to win the World Series if I were betting on them now. But at this point, even though they're playing great overall, they're really not hitting.
Larry, NFL season is almost here. Regular season right around the corner, 2 weeks away. Who are you picking this year to be in the Super Bowl, Larry? What team should we be having a close eye on? Who do you like?
Well, my heart's with the Dolphins because I broadcast the Dolphins. I did their perfect season. In fact, they celebrated the 40th anniversary of that Super Bowl win today at the White House. I broadcast and did the color that whole season. So I'm emotionally tied to the Dolphins, but I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender just yet. They might win, They might win the conference depending on how strong the Patriots are. I like the Bengals a lot. I don't dismiss the Lions. I think the Broncos will have a lot to say. I think it's going to be a very tough year all the way around. This is the Saints should be coming back with the coach back. You never count the New Orleans out of things. San Francisco is very tough. I love Seattle. If I'm forced, if you got me back to the wall, Seattle wins the Super Bowl.
Larry, you mentioned about the Dolphins visiting the White House today, the perfect season 72 team. What do you think of some of the guys not showing up, like Kuchenberg didn't want to be there because of Obama?
I think that's terrible. I think that's a lack of respect for your government. I like Kuch a lot, but that's a really absurd thing to do. To turn your back on the White House invitation, no matter what your feelings are, you disagree with policy. That's stupid. Just stupid, and I think that casts a bad light on what was a wonderful team and wonderful cohesiveness. I just feel terrible about it.
And welcome back to, we have echoes in here, but welcome back to TalkingSports.tv. We are having a little difficulty reaching our guest, Mike Ditka. So instead, we're going to bring up marvelous Max Solomon, who, I know he looks young, but Howard, just stand up here for 1 second. I know you won't believe this. Get a close-up of these two guys, would you, Dave? Okay.
He's my
now,
younger brother.
there's Howard. There's Max. Max is 51 years old, and Howard is 21. What is wrong with this scenario? There's something weird here. But, okay, go sit down, Howard. Thank you. Thank you for that. Was very important. Max is really one of our NFL gurus. He knows the league inside out. He's an absolute maven when it comes to the NFL. We call him a whiz kid. And his nickname is Marvelous Max. So Marvelous, I'm going to ask you about your impressions of the first weekend in the NFL this season. There were a lot of exciting games. First question I want to ask you, though, is what has happened to defense in the NFL? I mean, there was a time where if you wanted to see offense, you watched the Canadian Football League. I mean, it just seems like teams are scoring at will now.
Well, you know what? And I agree with you. It has become a real offensive league, especially with teams like these high-powered offenses in San Francisco. Now we're seeing Philadelphia, New England, even the Broncos, especially with Peyton Manning throwing 7 touchdowns. Defense has disappeared in the NFL, but real surprising, we had, I think, 5 or 6 safeties this week, which is incredible, unprecedented. So that's a real headline for the NFL, but I agree. It has become an offensive league. The great defense has deteriorated, and I don't think we're going to see another defensive-minded team like the 2002 Buccaneers, the 2000 Buccaneers and the 2002 Ravens get to the Super Bowl, because right now you need an all-star quarterback to get there, because it really is an offensive world.
Marvelous. There was a game last night between the Eagles and the Redskins, and the Redskins were favored in this game, 4.5-point favorites, in fact. And the Eagles came out smoking. The Eagles actually made mincemeat of the Redskins. There was only a game near the end. Griffin, RG3 as he's known, had a terrible first half. What's going on with RG3, and are the Eagles for real this year?
Well, as I said yesterday, it's all about, I think, RG3 needed to get his sea legs under him. So I think he was a bit rusty. He seemed to come on after the second half, or after the first half, rather. But speaking about the Eagles, there was no tape on them in this game. There was really nothing to study other than Oregon film, maybe past film for their skill players like Jackson and McCoy and Vic. But this is an offense that hasn't been seen in the NFL, and it's not because of the formations or the crazy signs that are going on the sidelines. It's because of the tempo. The Eagles ran 53 plays in the first half. Unprecedented number. The Carolina Panthers ran 53 the entire game. You run that many plays, your team's going to put up yards, and inevitably your team's going to put up points. So that's really the secret behind the Philadelphia Eagles' success, and it's going to be tough for defenses to stop, because you can see on the Redskins sidelines, these guys were gassed during the game. They were really, really exhausted.
Max, in San Francisco, Harbaugh ended up picking up Bolden, who his brother had last year with the Ravens. I thought Bolden had an exceptionally good game against Green Bay. How good is this San Francisco team going to be this year with Bolden in the lineup?
Well, Anquan Bolden looks like he's successfully replaced Michael Crabtree in this offense. The guy looks like the stud that he was in his early days in Arizona, maybe a little bit in his earlier days in Baltimore. The guy hasn't shown his age yet. 200 yards, very, very high number, especially on a running team like San Francisco. But when you talk about San Francisco, you have to talk about Colin Kaepernick and that game he played against the Green Bay Packers. This guy did not beat them with his legs, but the threat definitely hurt them. This guy threw for 415 yards this game in Green Bay after running for about 180 in the last game. So this guy's got Green Bay's number officially. But talking around with people in the rest of the league, this is a guy that many people are assuming could become one of the top, if not the top, quarterbacks in the NFL. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his legs. He's definitely one of those new age type quarterbacks, and he's a perfect fit for that spread system in San Francisco. So I really like Colin Kaepernick, and San Francisco very well might be the best team in football, and I don't think it's close.
All right, marvelous. Thank you. Hand the mic to Handsome Howard, because Handsome, next week, San Francisco meets Seattle. And for those of you who don't know, you should know, but for those of you who don't know, there is no better handicapper on this planet than Handsome Howard. And I want to ask you, who do you think will likely come out on top? To me, these are the best two teams in the NFL. Who comes out on top in this game?
Well, definitely you got two Titans playing against each other in early season favorites to go all the way. Sunday night game, I mean, it's going to be electric in Seattle, and it's a hard place to win. I mean, the last time San Francisco went into Seattle, they got their clocks thrown off them, and they didn't forget about that. They've been waiting for this game. They've had this game circled. All that being said, I mean, Seattle looked like they didn't miss a beat. First week against Carolina, their defense looked very sharp. You know what? It's a type of game that I wouldn't want to bet on. I'd be happy. Most games in the NFL, you do need a little bit of action to make it interesting. This is going to be a great football game. This is going to be, I believe, talk about the Super Bowl, the second week of the season. You're going to see it here Sunday night. If I had to pick one team, I'm going to go with San Francisco only because they remember that game near the end of the season last year where they got destroyed by the Seahawks, and teams don't forget that.
I seldom question you. I seldom disagree with your picks. I like Seattle in this game at home. I think Seattle has the best defense in the NFL, and they've added some pretty good offensive parts as well. At home, for their season opener at home, Russell Wilson will excel against what I think is a suspect San Francisco defense. Take Seattle in this game, Howard. Pass the mic to Stuart. Now, Stuart, you are a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fanatic. Shame on you, first of all. Second of all...
Why? I don't know where to hide my Super Bowl rings, or they don't all fit on one hand.
No, but this team looks like garbage this year. They lose to Tennessee in their opener at home. What was the final? 16-9 or something.
Yeah, I suffered.
They weren't in the game. And Ben Roethlisberger looks to me, and I know you're going to defend him because Big Ben is one of your heroes, but let's be honest. He looks to me like maybe he's done, and he doesn't have much help around him anymore.
Well, first of all, Ben Roethlisberger never threw a good deep ball if you ever watched the Steelers. A guy like...
Wallace?
No, Wallace stinks. Wallace caught one pass for 50
Stop
yards.
it.
Wait till you see what $12.5 million got you. If as a Steeler last year, we were booing him regularly in my house. He didn't even earn his $2.7 million they made for his Steelers. They got taken big time on Wallace, and you will see. Mike Wallace doesn't jump for a ball if it's not right in his hands. He doesn't fight for a ball. Everything Anquan Bolden is... What are you talking about?
The guy's a good receiver.
I've watched every single Steeler game for the last 10 years. What are you telling me?
I saw him get open an awful lot, and
yeah,
I saw
and
him
if the ball's
score a lot
over
of
the
touchdowns.
head, and if it's thrown short, have you ever seen him come back to the ball and catch it? Ever?
All right, let's
He's
not talk about
Anquan
Bolden.
Bolden.
We're talking about Roethlisberger.
We're talking about Roethlisberger.
And the fact that the Steelers are done.
Okay, first of all, the Steelers had zero running game. Isaac Redman was worse than you can imagine. Okay? The guy had 9 yards on 8 carries. He was absolutely awful. They had no thing, and they have absolutely no play calling with Todd Haley. Todd Haley brought a non-playoff atmosphere and a non-playoff quality to the supreme Steeler city. He has no business being a Steeler. He has no business being under sidelines. He has no business calling your offense. He's awful. Okay? His whole premise was it's short little quick passes to keep Roethlisberger upright. His offense is horrible.
Wilksy, in Chicago, the coach is a former CFL coach who had great success in Montreal, Mark Trestman. Bears won their opener by 3 points over, I think, an improved Cincinnati Bengals team. Can the Bears do damage with Mark Trestman as head coach and Jay Cutler as quarterback?
Well, that's to be seen, really. I mean, with Trestman coming in as a new coach, winning that first game shows that he does know the NFL game, and that obviously he's doing something right. He must have had a great training camp with the team, and they came out and they beat a good Cincinnati team. So, if Cutler can get his game together and the defense holds up, losing the big linebacker who's the Urlacher who retired. So, it's going to be a battle in that division.
Ronnie, I know that as much as Stu loves the Pittsburgh Steelers, you love the New York Giants. And the New York Giants came out with a really, really flat effort. In fact, they committed 6 turnovers. It was their worst game in 25 years. And the New York Giants played against Dallas, and they lost, obviously, when you commit 6 turnovers. Do the New York Giants and Eli Manning have any chance at all to succeed this year, or are they done?
No, I don't think they're done. First of all, you're right. They came out flat. It was a disgusting display of football, not only with the New York Giants, but Dallas sucked just as much as New York did. Can you believe it?
Ronnie loves the word suck.
Six turnovers, and they squeaked the game out. I mean, Romo is not an elite quarterback.
No.
Eli Manning he's been there. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's proven himself. His a couple fumbles, a couple bad throws, but the Giants seem to really step it up in the big games. And I don't know whether they come out the beginning of the year and just think that they're going to win automatically. I don't know what it is. Their running game is horrible. They've got McGahee and Brandon Jacobs coming in for Trouts this week. I'm not sure if that's the answer either. I mean, they're fumbling the ball all over the place, and it's disgusting. It's horrible football.
All right. Mark Messier will join us in...
momentarily, but also, I don't know where Ditka is, but joining us after Messier is former head coach Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards, who's also an NFL analyst.
Yes.
He's the guy you'll all remember, is we play to win the game. Well, that's what we're doing right here on TalkingSports.tv. We're playing to win this game. We'll be right back with the great Mark Messier. Don't go away.